Hey everyone, it's Nicole. Welcome back to my channel, Relax.Cut.Glue. If you're new here, welcome. I'm so happy to have you all here with me today. So today I'm going to be playing in my composition notebook. This is a random glue book of mine and it has 80 pages in it. I did not take any out and I did not glue any together. So it is a big mamma jamma and it is almost totally full. So I'm just trying to go through and kind of complete the pages that are still empty, and that way I can finish it, do a flip through, and then start another one. I think for my next one, I am going to take some pages out. I never usually do, but with this one, it was a very rounded edge to this composition notebook, so it made it really hard to glue in when it got too full. So I'm actually not going to be able to finish all the pages in it. It's just too hard in the very back. So my next one, which I should be creating soon, I'm going to take some pages out and I'll show all that on camera when I do it. My process here, back to what we're working on, is I use my Scotch permanent glue stick, my favorite glue stick. I swear by it. I know everybody doesn't like it, but a lot of people do, and it is the one glue stick that makes everything stick down and not come back up for me. I know sometimes where you live could play a part in that with humidity and stuff like that, but it works great for me. I'm in the Pacific Northwest. So what I do is to save some of my permanent glue stick, because, you know, they're more expensive than, say, your ones you would get at the Dollar Tree or something like that. I just use it around the edges when I'm putting down a huge full page image or background, because that just saves me some of my glue stick. And then I go in with my extra large glue stick that I call Biggie Smalls, and I go through and I glue the middle part. And, you know, I kind of go over some of the Scotch area, so I'm kind of spreading the Scotch around the middle area anyways. And although this extra large glue stick doesn't work as well as the Scotch permanent glue stick, it works really good. And this whole process seems to save me some time. It saves me some money, and it works pretty well. And I don't worry so much about wrinkles and things like that in this book. I mean, I try to avoid them. I do everything I can to avoid them, but if they happen, I literally don't worry about it, especially when I'm working with a background, because once you start gluing on top of it, it gets thicker and you kind of don't see those wrinkles so much. So don't put too much pressure on yourself to make sure you get all the wrinkles out and things like this. At least I don't. This is a random glue book. I do it for fun. I do it for therapy. I do it for relaxation. So this is kind of a no pressure glue book for me. And everything in here is completely random. I'm just kind of playing with some images today. I don't know. It's one of those days where I wanted to create, but I'm kind of in a funk. So things weren't turning out exactly how I wanted, and I didn't have a game plan going into it. So I was just kind of pulling out some of my images, my squared off images and my fussy cut images, and playing around and kind of seeing where I wanted to go with this. I have 2 baskets that I keep my magazine cutouts in for glue booking like this, because I like to have my images ready before I glue. I don't like to fussy cut as I glue unless I have to. Like I need an image, I find it, and then I glue it in. But generally speaking, I like to have all my images ready to go. It's just more fun for me. So I have a basket where I keep all my squared off images, rectangles and squares, and then another basket where all my fussy cuts are. That way they're separated. And then inside my fussy cut basket, I have another smaller basket, which you might see come into the screen a few times. It's teal or turquoise or mint green, whatever. And that's where I keep my smaller fussy cuts so they don't get lost in the basket. And they're just easier for me because they're all gathered into one place. This image I've had for so long, like way back when I was doing my last color glue book. So I'm excited to finally use it. He's kind of a big image. He's long, and, I've almost ripped him in half several times. So I just cut out that little area between his arm and his body. I don't do that beforehand a lot of times because When I'm fussy cutting, I mainly just get the image and I leave the inside parts like that because sometimes they get caught, like a magazine image will get caught inside of it and then rip it or something. So I save that kind of cutting for when I'm actually going to glue, just to preserve my image a little bit better. Sometimes I do it while I'm fussy cutting, but most of the time I save it for when I'm glue booking. Trimming the edges. This book weighs so much. It's unreal. I need to weigh it again. So last month we weighed my book and then I had you guys guess, and only one person out of all the answers guessed it right on the dot. So I'm going to have to weigh this again. I think I'll wait till I'm done with it though and then weigh it. But it weighed, what was it? 2 pounds, 14 ounces or something like that. It's getting up there. It's a chunky monkey, which I like. I don't mind that at all. So my next one that I'm going to do with a composition notebook, I'm going to do all Birds and Blooms magazine, which will be great for springtime because it'll have flowers and plants and bees and butterflies and birds and all kinds of stuff. So it's the one magazine that I have subscribed to, that people have subscribed to for me. So I get a lot of them and I absolutely love them. They're great images. And I was just gifted in a Happy Mail a bunch of older ones. So I think it would be so fun to just fill an entire book up with Birds and Blooms because it has all those things. And I can add like animals and I can add whatever I want. But I just thought it would be fun to do that right now while it's, getting to be that time with spring right around the corner. But doing the random gluing is hands down one of my favorite ways to glue. I know quite a few people have a hard time doing random gluing, and I did too at first. But for me, I like to work in themes, and I told myself that random was a theme. And sometimes I'll glue like this. I didn't know where I was going with this. It started to drive me nuts. And then I was like, I need to just walk away from it and come back to it another day. I never fully finish a page. I mean, sometimes I do. But oftentimes I will come back and add more later with a fresh perspective. So if you get frustrated, turn the page and start on something else, come back to it later. It's amazing how different it is when you walk away from it and come back at a later date. Oftentimes you have new perspective, you have new images, things will come to mind, you know what I mean? Excuse the sun rays. I will close my blinds here in a minute, but they drive me nuts. It is nice and sunny today, though, so I'm happy about that. It wasn't at first. It's only just now become sunny. It's been kind of cold and rainy and dark and cloudy, but the sun just came out, so that is real nice. That's my little fussy book. That's my little fussy cut basket that goes in my big basket of fussy cuts. And that doesn't have all my little ones. It just, whatever I have in my basket at the time or when I'm cutting. Sometimes when I get Happy Mail images, I'll throw them in here if they're pre-cut and that kind of stuff. But only things that are already cut go in these baskets. If it's not cut yet, it goes into a third basket. And that's for me to handle later when I need more images and stuff. And sometimes I don't even need more images. I just want them. When you glue sorry, struggling to speak. You get sick of looking at the same old images you've been looking at. So every once in a while, before I sit down to glue, I'll do like a fussy cutting session and just get a handful of new images to throw in there to kind of get the juices flowing again, for lack of a better word. I don't know what was going on here. I just know I wanted some color. I just wanted it to be, I don't know. You know what? Honestly, I just wanted to glue. So I really didn't care. Well, I was going to say I really didn't care about the composition. That's a lie. I did care about the composition. I just wasn't overly anal about the layout that I came up with today. And I can be very particular. I'm a perfectionist at heart, and it's very hard to not be a perfectionist, so I work on it very hard. But I also acknowledge the fact that that's the kind of person that I am. I have always been that way for as long as I can remember. And it's just kind of who I am. But I do work on not being so hard on myself in that aspect. And oh, there we go. I just closed my blinds. I have a bunch of square images here. I was thinking I would just do a page full of square images instead of doing a background and then gluing. So here I kind of have a theme going, not really, but slightly. So kind of a beachy theme with blues is what I was kind of doing here. And it's not a full beach theme, but it's kind of, I was getting images that kind of went with that. So it kind of became a little bit more cohesive, even though it's completely random. If that makes sense. I don't know. Today was just a weird gluing day. Plain and simple. I just wanted to glue. And just play. So that's what I did. No pressure, just playing. It's a composition notebook and recycled magazines. Just have fun with it. You know what I mean? Like, just glue. And if you glue something down and you don't like it, glue over it. Put something else over the top. That is my pug snoring in the background right now. I have both dogs in here with me. One snores, one does not. He is really cranking it today. Sounds like a lawnmower. Oh, he's so cute. I hope you guys had a fabulous weekend. Happy Monday. Although all the kids are out of school today, so I've got my kid here. He's hanging around somewhere. I think he was just making some lunch a little bit ago. I was just getting glue everywhere. You know those days where like you want to glue, but then like you just feel kind of blah. I don't know. Maybe it's just me. I'm having a chronic illness day today, so I wasn't even going to film, but then I was like, no, I need to move around and I need to do something creative. I have to do something creative every day. I've always been that way. I absolutely love to just craft and do art. Some of these images I've had for some time too. And some of these are brand new that I just got in Happy Mail. So it's kind of fun. Fun to play with some of these. Well, now you're going to hear my little 9-year-old neighbor playing basketball outside, I think. I think I hear him outside. His basketball hoop is very close to my craft room. And you've got Sherman. You're getting serenaded today. Oh, maybe he's not. I heard him out there, but maybe they're not playing. I was out there the other day. Bob was driving with Jackson, and I was out there kind of watching, and I was talking with my little neighbor, and he's so cute. He was playing basketball, and he's like, I love basketball. I was like, who's your favorite player? His favorite player is Steph Curry. My favorite player, Michael Jordan, baby, all the way. When I was younger, I would collect. So I've always been very much into sports. I played sports growing up. I love them. I watched them with my dad. We would go to sporting events and we collected basketball cards and like baseball cards and all kinds of stuff, mainly basketball. And we would go to like card shows and all that kind of stuff. And I would always try and find really unique Michael Jordan cards. So I have a whole binder of these really, really cool Michael Jordan cards. It's pretty fantastic. And I also have a pretty spectacular Michael Jordan card that's worth some do-re-mi. Yeah, I love him. Andrew and I always tease each other because he's a huge LeBron James fan and I'm a huge Michael Jordan fan. And there's all if you know sports, you know that there's always this big competition between those two about who's the GOAT. And so Andrew and I are always like just having these heated battles about who's the GOAT, which is so dumb. They're both the GOAT for their own time. You can't compare two different areas of times. Plus, we all really know that Michael Jordan's the GOAT. Oh, man, my son would be all over me right now. Be like, what? Oh, man. We were watching the 3-point contest and skills competition and stuff for the NBA this weekend. That was really fun. We love sports in our house. We spend a lot of time talking about sports and watching sports and stuff. I've had that little letter and envelope forever, and I thought, I'm just going to put it down here. It has some blue on it. I don't know. This is where I was talking about how it's not really a theme, but kind of. Like, everything kind of matches. You know what I mean? So it does bring it together a little bit. I added that avocado because there was green in there. It fit, and I just wanted to glue. So I was like, well, maybe I'll just put that avocado right there. If it fits, it sticks. Have a little cell phone. So I'm just digging through, trying to find some little itty bitty things that I can accentuate with. Having some fun. What was that? It sounded like a cat that was like, row, row, row. That's a weird sound. I'm so excited to do a final flip through of this glue book. I've been working on it for a couple years now. These take a long time because I glue front to back the entire book. So, well, front and back of each page is what I mean. I don't work front to back because if you do that, your book will roll and it'll be way off kilter. So I work in the front, the middle, the back, the front, the middle, the back. I just kind of turn pages and work all over. That way my spine doesn't get super distorted. But my point is, I've worked on the front and back page of the entire book. So it's got a lot of glue in it and a lot of magazine images. I think I saw a comment the other day. I need to go back and check so I can reply to it, but asking me how many glue books I have going right now and is there ever too many? So my answer to that is no, there's never too many. I can never have too many. I have a lot going at once. I get bored very easily. I'll work on one for a while, set it aside, maybe create a new one, come back to it. So I have several going at a time. I always have a random glue book going for sure. So I have my random composition notebook. I have my big random glue book, which is basically the same thing, but I just kind of do my layouts a little bit differently. I have my masterboard glue book. I have a grid glue book, and I have a vintage one that I haven't worked in for some time. Those are kind of my 5 main glue books that I've been working on right now. Oh, my paper bag glue book. I have that one too. I need to finish that. That's also a random one. Let's see, what other glue books? Oh, duh, my new one I just made. I have that one. So I have a lot. I have a lot. The problem is that most of these glue books that I just mentioned are all very big glue books. So they take a very long time to finish. So I work on them for years. So it's totally fine to set one aside, especially if it's different, like I don't have 2 random glue books in a composition notebook going at the same time. I only have one of those. So I don't have 2 of the same thing going at the same time. Each glue book is a little bit different because I like to switch them up. So long story short, I hope that answers your question. And that is going to conclude today's video. Thank you guys so much for taking the time out of your day to hang out with me while I glue to my glue book. I hope you have a fabulous start to your week. Don't forget to drink your water. If you wouldn't mind, please give this video a like. It helps me out more than you know. And I will see you guys tomorrow. Bye, friends.